welcome back to another video. My name is Becca if you're new here. I wanted to make a video about our lifestyle because we do live a little unconventionally and a bit different than a lot of other people. So I just wanted to take you through kind of some of the bigger aspects of our lifestyle. And I've kind of brought a lot of this up piecemeal throughout our other videos, but I really wanted to take the time and talk about all these different things. So I'm just gonna sit you down and make a tea. If you have been around for any of our other videos, then you would know that I love to talk about food. I don't stop talking about it. And that's just because it's so vitally important to me and I spend a lot of time with it. And so it's something that I just bring up a lot. I love making things from scratch. I think that it is so worth my time to ferment my own coconut yogurt and make my own sourdough. And I love making sauerkraut and all these different projects that I constantly have going on because to me, that's extremely healthy and I love the way that it makes me feel, and so it's totally worth it. I also spend a lot of time making everything from scratch. And part of that goes back to my childhood where I thought that pancakes had to come from a box. When I learned that you can make pancakes from scratch, it kind of blew my mind. And I feel like ever since then, I've made it my life mission to try to learn how to make everything from scratch. So I'm talking like making our own peanut butter, our own applesauce. And it's not that I do make everything from scratch 100% of the time. Sometimes it's just that I like to learn how to make it and I like to know that I can make it if I need to. That's something that I really enjoy spending a lot of my time on. I'm constantly in the kitchen, constantly working on projects and making really good food. And also just making already nutritious foods even healthier or easier to digest. For example, we soak our own beans and our own grains a lot of the times because it does make it easier to digest and it does make some of the nutrition more available to our bodies. Another project that I've just discovered and started doing is making our own sprouts because they're so nutritious and it's actually so easy and I really love it. And so yeah, I kind of just have these constant projects and they're fully in rotation all the time. And then I also really love making and finding new recipes and perfecting them. And once I get it to that point, that's when I like sharing it with you guys, but it takes me a while. And because I do enjoy doing all of this so much, it's very, very rare for us to go out and get fast food because it doesn't make a lot of sense to us. It's so much more expensive. It's so much less healthy and there's a lot more waste involved with it. So it just makes a lot more sense for us to make our own food from scratch. But sometimes we do like to go and enjoy cafes every once in a while because that's just really fun and it is such a fun experience. So we definitely try to buy organic when it's plausible, but oftentimes it's not. And to me, it's a lot better to buy the blueberries than to not be able to afford them. Also just kind of picking the ones that are more notorious for needing to be bought organic. Another big part of our lifestyle is that we are vegetarian. We really do try to eat more whole foods, less processed. I'm not saying we're perfect 100% of the time. I don't want to come across that way. We don't buy eggs or dairy very often, and we try to avoid a lot of the more processed foods because it doesn't make us feel as good and they tend to be more expensive. So an example of how I like to learn how to make things from scratch, I make a lot of our own plant milks from home. For example, I make my own cashew milk for a lot of everyday purposes, but then also we do have some carton store-bought milk from the fridge because Billy likes his coffee and it works better, like it steams better in the machine. The last part of our lifestyle, oh yes, is gardening. Gardening to me is a more recent endeavor and I'm definitely not very good at it, but it is something that brings me so much joy and I just love the fact that, look at this right here. All of this was grown in my garden or from somebody down our street and it just makes so much more sense to me to buy locally sourced things that are in season. Okay, let's go sit down and drink this. The next topic that I have is about minimalism. Oh, this tea is so good. Mama? Hi. Oh, did you just wake up from a nap? You want to try my tea? Okay. Ooh. How is that? Is that yummy? So to me, it's really important to invest in the things that are really important to us. So travel, education, those items that maybe are more of an investment piece, but they are totally worth it because they'll last much longer or they will serve us really well. Yeah, more tea. Oh, yummy. But also things that just make us really happy. So it doesn't always have to be just get the things that you need, super austere or anything. For example, there's something that makes me really happy that I have spent more money on. Oh, let me go show you. Here, come with me. Our pantry. So, I mean, every time oh yeah, you see snacks, huh? What snack do you want? You want a banana? Okay, go eat your banana. My pantry, for example, makes me incredibly happy every time that I open it. And yes, I did spend a little more money buying canisters and the label maker, but it is functional and it does make me so happy. I don't know, definitely worth it to me. But okay, let's get back. I've just found that having less stuff means less work and less time that I have to spend on that. And I think a lot of people realize that as you get older. But I've also really come to find that having a nice clean house just makes me so much happier and it makes me enjoy life a lot more. And it's really nice because now that our baby is getting a little bit older, his favorite activity isn't just dumping everything out and ripping everything out of every single drawer. I do like to spend a lot more time now making sure that my house is really clean and tidy, and it's just something that I really love. To me, this is a continual process. You're always trying to find a home for everything and to make sure that it is serving a purpose or some sort of utility or storage, or is just there to make you happy. And to me, minimalism is just all about being a lot more mindful about what you really need versus what you might just want, making things last longer, and just being more mindful about what you actually bring into your home. It's also really nice because it makes you really good at saving money and being more frugal, because just practicing that mindfulness just automatically does that for you, and it's awesome. But no matter how hard you try, you will still get a bunch of junk in your house because it's just inevitable. Like, people give you stuff or you buy something with the best intentions but it doesn't really work out. But either way, you have to declutter every once in a while, and that is one of my favorite things in the whole world. I love decluttering so much, and I'm totally gonna do a video on this soon because our house is already due for one. So the next topic that I love to talk about and I'm very passionate about is just being eco-friendly and having a natural home. So a big part of my lifestyle and kind of like my morals, I guess, is that I like to buy everything secondhand. And I know everybody that has watched many of our videos knows this about me, but all of our furniture is secondhand. All of our clothes, they are not purchased from fast fashion because I'm so adamantly opposed to that. And a lot of my son's toys, that might be all of them, are secondhand or from friends. I love that our whole home is filled with secondhand, perfectly good condition items because it's just so much better for the environment, it's cheaper for us, and it's something that I love doing. So I love talking about it. But obviously the best way to be the most eco-friendly is to just not buy the stuff in the first place and being more mindful about what you do need, because if you're not buying more, then corporations don't produce as much. And so that to me is just a big part of the whole chain of systems, and I think we need to be a bit more mindful about where we're putting our dollars at. But I especially try not to buy single-use items because those are just the worst. Okay, I'm not even gonna talk about that too much, but yeah, I'll probably do a whole video on just all of the things that I don't buy, and a lot of them are single-use items because it's kind of ridiculous that we live in such a throwaway culture, and it's not okay, and I would love to have a planet for my children and my children's children. So another thing that goes along with being eco-friendly is just reusing everything that you have. So obviously recycle it if it can't be used anymore, but the next step of that is to reuse. And I definitely reuse a lot of things. Like, I'm constantly trying to look at things and being like, oh, I can reuse this. Our pantry, for example, if you look at a lot of the jars, all the ones with gold lids on them are old peanut butter jars because we eat a lot of peanut butter here. But it just makes so much more sense for me to repurpose those because they're perfectly good, great condition, and they look pretty cute anyways, and it saves me a lot of money, and it saves them from being recycled or put into the landfill, and it also creates less demand from the stores because I'm not going out and buying more different canisters. So sometimes it's just about taking a little bit of time and being creative with what you do bring into your home and finding out different ways to use them. Next is that I try to use very minimal plastic. I have made a whole little video on this before. For example, when we go grocery shopping, I don't get the little plastic baggies to put all my individual produce in. I bring my own produce bags, or more often than not, I just put the produce into the cart. Like, it already has its own skin on it. It doesn't need a separate baggie to be put into your cart. So it's just a lot of things, kind of like questioning how things work. Just because it's how it's been done for a while doesn't mean it's necessarily the best way. But I love using minimal plastic, one, because it's better for the environment, but also I just don't really trust plastic. Like, the longer it's been in our world, the more they come out with saying like, oh, make sure you don't get these kind of plastics because they leach chemicals into your water and your food. So I am very leery of plastic, and especially with our food stuff and with our baby, like I really don't like it. So just some more ways to be eco-friendly are going to refilleries and bulk shopping, because that just reduces the amount of packaging that has to come with your food. And then you can buy more at a time too. And so that's less traveling, less grocery trips, and it's just really fun. And you can get cute canisters to make your pantry look adorable. And it has to be said that eating little to no meat and little to no dairy is better for the environment. And that's all I'm going to say about that because I've talked about it too much. But it's just really important to me to try to lower our chemical load. And a few ways that I do this are, for example, I don't use a bunch of chemically cleaners for around the house when a rag and a little bit of water will do the trick. I like to homemake our own soap. Or if I do buy soap, I try to make sure that there's no fragrance in it, that there aren't certain chemicals that I'm more cautious about. I like to do a lot of looking into that kind of thing, and it's something that I spend a little bit of time on. Okay, so the next category is kind of gentle parenting and being a homemaker. And it's kind of tricky to me because I feel like I am a homemaker. Like, that is what I am. It's what I enjoy doing. Like, I have been the kind of person that's always wanted to have kids, and I want to have more than just a couple. Like, I love being a mom. But sometimes when I say that I'm a homemaker, I feel like I don't fit that mold, because to me, a homemaker on like Instagram or YouTube, you're Christian and you love every second of being a mom, and kind of a lot of those general ideas, and that just doesn't fit me, and I don't really fully align with that. But like I said, I do think I basically fall under that category. A big part of my lifestyle is being a stay-at-home mom, and I also recognize that that is a huge privilege that a lot of people don't have. A lot of times both the parents need to be working, or you might be a single mom that can't afford to stay at home with your children. And so I do realize how lucky I am that I'm able to stay home with my son and spend a lot of silly time making applesauce and stuff like that. Some other things that we do that might be a little unconventional are we bed share, and we have since the day that we brought our son home from the hospital, and we sleep on a floor bed, and I'm still breastfeeding. He's almost 2 now, and we have cut it back to just one feed before bedtime, but that's something that we both still really enjoy, and I am one of the lucky ones that have been able to breastfeed with no problems, so I don't really see any reason to cut him off when we're both just fine with it. Another thing is that we did baby-led weaning at 6 months old, and I know a lot of moms are a little scared of that because of choking hazards and everything, but he thrived doing it and he absolutely loved it. And obviously it's a case-by-case situation, like you know your child best, but I think it has helped. I don't know, he's not a picky eater at all. And again, like if you look at the way that we eat a ton of veggies and non-processed stuff, and he eats like a champ, and people comment on that all the time, but he's really good. Something else that we do that we think is worth it, notice that I'm not saying that we totally enjoy it, is cloth diapering. So it would be so much easier to buy disposables, but we do think it's worth it to cloth diaper for us. So that's what we do. And it's also really cool because he is almost done potty training. Like, I can almost confidently say that he is potty trained, and he's not quite 2 yet. So that's pretty early. Also, he's the one that kind of led the whole thing. So we definitely lucked out there. So this is a lot more popular nowadays, but I do really love the Montessori mindset, and so I love reading Montessori books or following different things to learn how to do more Montessori things at home. I definitely agree with almost everything that Montessori aligns with, and so that's just something that we try to incorporate into our lifestyle. I also really love and try to follow the 1,000 hours of sun, or 1,000 hours of being outside, because the fact that he loves going outside so much and like begs for it, it just kind of shows me that it is an essential part of development. The last thing is just, it kind of bothers me when people talk about how expensive having kids is. I don't agree with that. And maybe this is a little controversial, but I think your kids are expensive as you make them. And so because we get everything secondhand, and because I was able to exclusively breastfeed and cloth diaper, like everything that we did had a lot of intention behind it. Because of all of that together, he isn't very expensive at all. And also, I don't like the mindset that people get around kids when they're like, oh, your life basically stops after you have them. We haven't really changed that much about our actual way of life. Like, we still love to go hiking and camping, and we travel a lot. We just bring him along with us and we love it, and I think it helps him too. Like, he thrives living in this way of life. Like, we moved countries when he was just 10 months old. Yeah. Do you want some more tea? You little tea boy. And maybe it's just him, and he's the type of kid that thrives on a lot of adjustments and everything. That is just the way of our life, and it has worked out well for us. So kind of my last aspect of our lifestyle is that I feel like we do a lot more critical thinking than even we used to do like 5-10 years ago, because I feel like over time I have realized that our generation has been lied to a lot, and so there's a lot of things that I question a lot more deeply now, and I look for my own answers and my own way of doing things, because I don't trust a lot of things anymore, like big corporations and like capitalism, consumerism, any kind of political standing or leaders, and especially religion. And these are just all things that are, it's just kind of a big part of our lifestyle now. So that's it. Those are the 4 big main categories of how I kind of described what I do with a lot of my time and what I'm really passionate about, and what somebody commented on this before, but we rescued this monstera from the side of the road, and we're trying to nurse it back to good health, but it does look really sad right now. But yeah, that is our life kind of wrapped up in a nutshell. I really do want to make some more videos along these lines, because it is what I love to talk about, and it's what I love to do. So expect more videos. They're gonna be so much fun. Okay, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.